Hey everyone, it is late at night and I am Norman. I recently read an interesting article, and I mentioned this in my previous video where I discussed the trip that I took to Miami to look at watch shops in a city that I'd never been to before. And as part of that video, I was going to do a discussion on this article, but telling that tale took a bit longer than I thought it would. So let me talk about this article that I encountered in this video. So shortly before leaving for Miami to look at watch shops, I encountered an article that was talking about Audemars Piguet and their sales figures, comparing both their sales within multi-brand brick and mortar shops and dedicated shops, or their own ADs, their own brand stores. And the sales in the dedicated shops and their own shops were way higher than they were in the multi-brand shops. And the author of this article was speculating that the brand is probably going to be moving in the direction of the dedicated shops versus the multi-brand stores, like a Tourneau's or something like that. And shops like that are fine if they're in locations kind of like Vegas or something, where you have Caesars, and as you're walking through that mall, there are watch shops everywhere, and most of those are dedicated. So you have a Blancpain shop, the Breguet store, Cartier, all kinds of different brands having their own shops, but they're all right there in one place. So as you're shopping around, you could try out all kinds of different brands. And there's also Tourneau's there. Last time I went to Vegas, that was under construction. They were actually moving to an even larger location. I'm gonna have to go back there and check that new location out. That's gonna be pretty cool. Because it was already like 3 levels of watches, so that would be really cool to see. But what's troubling about this article is the multi-brand shops are crucial for watch nerds, and I think I speak for most of you out there when I say that these are necessary places for us so that we can peruse all kinds of different brands, all kinds of different models of watches, put them on our wrist, and see what they're like in person. And I feel like these brands are kind of looking at the sales in these shops a little bit incorrectly. I mean, yes, most of the time, at least me, I've never gone into a shop like a Tourneau's and purchased a watch, but I have gone into shops and found pieces that I realized are watches that I have to buy. So a bit ago, I had gone into my favorite city. It was around the holidays. I think it was shortly before Thanksgiving. I had gone there and was doing some shopping with my wife. Went into one of the Ben Bridges there and tried on a Cartier Tank Americaine. And then afterward, I was perusing the shop looking at all the other brands that were in there. And I happened to stumble upon the Longines Dolce Vita. This is labeled as a ladies' watch because it's a smaller variant than the mechanical versions. And I had been looking for one of these quartz Dolce Vitas because they don't have a date, they have a sub-seconds complication on them. But I wasn't sure exactly what they would look like because tank style watches are kind of difficult to gauge their size by numbers alone. You kind of have to see them in person. And I saw this Dolce Vita in the display and tried it on and absolutely fell in love with it. However, I didn't purchase it right there in the shop. I went home and waited for another paycheck to come in and waited for the Black Friday sales, and I got it at a discount shortly after I had visited the shop. And what's amazing about that watch is not only is it one of my all-time favorite watches in my collection, but because I purchased it right after seeing it in person in the shop, that memory of trying it on in the flesh, of shopping, that whole experience is tied in with that watch as though I purchased it there. And I feel like brands need to view shops a bit differently than they are. These multi-brand stores, I feel like, should be viewed like advertising costs, because that is where watch nerds, watch enthusiasts, watch curious people can go and see what's out there. They can see all kinds of different brands, all kinds of different watches, try them on, and they may find a piece that they absolutely fall in love with, like I did with the Dolce Vita, and later on they make a purchase and that brand gets that money. So as AP is looking at these multi-brand stores and thinking they need to pull out because they just aren't making the money they do in their dedicated stores, I feel like that might be a mistake, because some of their future clients, some of their future customers may have found their watches in one of these multi-brand stores and then scraped and saved and obsessed about the watch for a while, and then went back and purchased it either online or in one of the dedicated shops. But it would be a sad world if we didn't have stores where we can just explore what's out there, see what the options are, experience all kinds of different brands in one location. And once again, places like Vegas and whatnot are fine for dedicated shops because we essentially have that same experience. We're just walking from shop to shop versus perusing within one single location. But yeah, I feel like they should view those stores as advertising costs. But what do you guys think? Multi-brand stores, are they important to us, or give or take? Thanks for watching.